Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's lecture, where we continue our discussion of the book Intersectional Chicana Feminisms. So in chapter 3 of the book, the author talks about different ways in which art is used among Chicana feminists, and talks about this term, artivistas, artists who combine their art with activism to speak to social justice issues impacting Chicana communities. And artivistas have the following principles in common. Their art is tied to Chicana culture. Their art creates new modes of expressions that incorporate history, folklore, and academic production. And their art is designed to raise consciousness on a number of social justice issues. And she gives us a number of examples of different art forms and different artists and how they incorporate these elements into their work. And the first group she talks about are visual artists and gives us a couple of examples. One of the ways in which Chicanas have used their art is to reimagine the image of La Virgen de Guadalupe to represent the everyday experiences of Chicanas. One of these artists is Yolanda Lopez, which is one example of a visual artist who reimagines the image of La Virgen de Guadalupe as seen in these two examples, which she talks about in the chapter. Another artist is Esther Hernandez, who is a visual artist who has created works that address social justice issues like immigration, farm worker struggles, use of pesticides on farmland and its impact on the Chicanx communities. You see here the poster of the raisins. If you've ever seen those little red boxes of raisins, she uses that image, right, to sort of talk about and critique the experiences of farm workers in grape fields in California. And more recently, she created this other poster, this other wanted poster, which was meant to critique the SB 1070 law from Arizona, the Show Your Papers law, that racially profiled Latinas. The reading also talked about the Alma Lopez controversy over her depiction of La Virgen de Guadalupe, where she incorporates issues of sexuality and sexual empowerment. The Catholic community of Santa Fe, New Mexico, when the work was exhibited there, found the piece offensive in its portrayal of the Virgen. And the reading also talked about how this was an empowering experience for the model who modeled for the piece, who posed for the piece as a way of empowering herself after her experience of rape. And so we saw this discussion in the reading about what this piece of work meant, not just to the artist, but to the model and to other members of the community. What this controversy underlines is that women's empowerment is still something that is resisted, particularly with some more conservative members of the community, or that women's empowerment is only acceptable within certain parameters that do not threaten traditional Chicano culture. Another type of art that the reading talked about was music, and highlighted this particular example of Marta Gonzalez, who is a songwriter, performer, and also professor at Scripps College in California. Music is a collaboration between women of East Los Angeles and women in Veracruz, Mexico, creating a transnational collaboration. Many of the songs focus on the everyday experiences of women, and she talks about songs as both testimonials of women's lives and as sung theories. Music becomes a way to theorize Chicana and Mexicana experiences. Another form of art that the reading talked about was dance, and used the example of Ballet Nepantla as an example of how dance is another realm in which Chicana artists sort of talk about culture, feminism, women's experiences. Ballet Nepantla is a fusion of Mexican ballet folklorico and other contemporary and classical forms of dance. As we saw in the reading, the group uses dance to both uphold Mexican Chicano cultural elements and to reimagine traditional stories centering the experiences and histories of women. We also see the influence of Chicana theory, with their choice of the term Nepantla, inspired by the writings of Gloria Saldúa. And the final chapter talks about Latinas in the Women's March of 2017, and the follow-up march in Las Vegas, in which she participated herself as a speaker, but also that were led by one of her former students, Carmen Perez, who is seen in the middle picture here, and has become a career activist. We also see how the march incorporates aspects of Chicana feminist thought and practice, such as the use of testimonios with the various speakers who talked about their own everyday experiences, and the use of art, such as music, as part of the event, and how music was used to galvanize the participants. She also talked about the march as an example of intersectionality, and also how the different experiences of the women who organized the march and participated in the march represent sort of the complexities of what feminism means in much more contemporary times. And in the videos, I've included a talk by Carmen Perez at, I believe it was LULAC, one of the more recent LULAC conventions. So I think what this chapter teaches us is to look for the participation and leadership of Latinas in current movements, even when they appear to be non-existent according to the media representation of these movements and events. If you participated in this march or recall seeing media coverage, I don't really recall a lot of coverage about Carmen Perez herself, and a lot of the mainstream media focused on the white celebrities that spoke during the event. During the main event, and really did not focus a lot on the fact that the organizers, the co-organizers, in addition to Carmen Perez, were other women of color as well. So it means that we have to look a little bit closer, right, to find the presence of Latinas even in contemporary feminist activism and events. So this ends our lecture for this week. I look forward to seeing what you have to say about it all. I'll see you guys next time.